Again, very warm welcome to my this talk on the benefit of maintenance management. Now, in case you do not know, I'm actually involved with maintenance for a big part of my life. Maintenance management, uh, helping people to install and implement CMMS. And that's me. Okay, I work in the factories, facilities, building maintenance, and all that. So once again, let's just get started. Okay, today our topic is on benefit of maintenance metric. What does this metric actually does for us, and how it can help us, and how we go about that. So once again, very warm welcome. Let's let's see. What I'm going to share to this morning is just a few aspects. Uh, is why do we need to measure in the first place? Yeah? What are some of the key indicators that I want to share this morning? Because there are plenty of them. We will not be able to cover everything, and not everything is important anyway. And how do we actually capture some of the data as we go along? Where do you pick up all this data for you to build up your KPI and so on? And you just have a short summary. What is all this about? Okay. Why do we need to measure? Yeah. So now there's a saying. These are some what you call wise saying or good quotes. Quotes. So it says that until you can measure something and express it in numbers, you have only the beginning of understanding. In other words, whatever you're doing, unless you have things that measure to tell you how good you are, whether you're going in the right direction or not, we may not actually be able to understand our process and our services. So, so the other quote says that you cannot manage what you cannot measure. So that is quite true in the sense that in management, we need numbers. A number is actually measurement. How are we going? How fast? How much more do we need to go? So on and so forth. So that's the reason why we need to measure. And the purpose of measuring is to gather relevant information to enable managers to make informed decision and drive continuous improvement in support of corporate goal. So the whole purpose is so that we can actually uh, enable the manager to make decision based on information. Of course, this information must be gathered somewhere. It does not automatically come, and we need to decide what KPI we need to have and so on. Of course, today, this morning, we are talking about maintenance metric, not production metric, not business metric, but maintenance. So maintenance metric in the form of KPI will help you measure and drive your maintenance performance. So in other words, we are talking about maintenance function. We need maintenance metric. And what are some of this metric? Yeah. So if we can fine tune our maintenance performance, then it can improve the organization performance. So, and in order for us to fine tune, we need to know where we are going. Yeah. So that we can actually increase profit, lower cost, and so on and so forth. Now, there are actually a lot of what we call maintenance metric. I can give you a whole list of them. Okay. You can go for maintenance backlog, MTTR, MTTPF, OEE, compliance percentage. Work order cycle time, maintenance cost, unscheduled downtime, and so on. Now, so if you were to look at your car, so there's a lot of even like in your car, I think, like even your car, there are a lot of information that the car will pick up. But the question is always this, what are the key important things so that you can put it just right in front of you so that it will help you to drive to your destination, to get where you want. Okay, so in other words, we need to just pick up some of the basic, because there are too many things out there, and we are not going to like be bothered with all the minor things, although they are important. They may be running at the background, but we don't need to have it in front of us. So what are some of the things that we need to be in front of us? That's what we want to talk about this morning, and for that we going to give you 5 key indicators this morning. That's all. Some of those may be better dealt with at another time. What are these 5? So these 5, we're going to look at downtime, we look at PM compliance, we will look at PM percentage. How do you actually measure them? How do you actually measure them? And MTD and MTBF, mean time between failure, and OEE, what it is all about. For some of you, it could be quite some new terms, because depending on the industry that you are coming from. Now, very key indicator is actually downtime. Downtime is downtime. Now we are talking about unscheduled downtime. Now there are a lot of downtime. Not all downtime are unscheduled. Some of the downtime are actually scheduled. Like for example, if a downtime actually means the equipment is not performing. In other words, the equipment is not providing output. If your machine that you require to have output is not producing. Now some of this downtime are planned. Some are unplanned. So unplanned is what we call unscheduled. Planned downtime is okay, because in the sense that we plan for it. We everybody knew about it, everybody knows it. So we do it. So it's planned, everybody is happy. But whereas unplanned downtime, everybody jump. Why is there downtime? Because unscheduled downtime disrupt a lot of things. So unscheduled downtime basically is the amount of time that the machine is down over your scheduled time. So for example, if you schedule your production from 8 to 5, for example, is about 8 minus all the break time and all that, you got about maybe 8 hours of production time. If you got 1 hour or 60 minutes that is down, then you have 60 minutes over 480 minutes. That is 8 hours. So that will give you an indication how good is the machine, or how much downtime you have. So again here, just remember, we're talking about unscheduled downtime. So unscheduled downtime KPI help maintenance manager to analyze how successful they have implemented maintenance strategy. So whatever maintenance strategy you are putting into place, is it working or is not working? So if you have a high downtime, then you know that you're in trouble. Okay, you have a low downtime, then you know that whatever you're doing is good in a sense. It's good, it's performing, and you have no problem with it. Now, so the next one that I want to talk about is actually PM compliance. Yeah, so I'm going to look at PM compliance. Now, compliance means this. Okay, so on the screen you see that I put down the PM completed within time frame. It should be the number of PM completed over number of PM scheduled. So let's say for example you have this week you have 10 equipment that you need to service, or you need to plan for doing maintenance. You have 10, and out of the 10 you only can do 8. Yeah, so your compliance is actually 8 over 10. In other words, you couldn't do everything. You couldn't do 10 of the job that you were scheduled because of lack of manpower. Maybe you have breakdown somewhere, you got other disruption. So you couldn't do it. So basically, we are looking at PM completed with time frame. So in other words, how many PM you have scheduled, how many you actually have done, or how much you have done, you have scheduled. So that will give you an indication of whether you are complying or not complying. So sometimes, we can plan to do things, but actually we did not do. That's what compliance. So you say you want to do it, you do it. If you say you want to do it, you did not do it, then you default. So you go on the default system. So that's how it's all. That's what compliance means. Yeah, so compliance, how many activity were performed according to the established guidelines. In other words, how much do you plan? How much do you do? Of course, the good compliance will be about 90%. Then you say, oh, I'm okay. So I did what I planned. But if you got about 50-60%, means half the time you plan, but you never do. Now, the other one is we're going to look at is actually the PM basically is planned maintenance or preventive maintenance. The other one is yeah. Then again, PM compliance is also meant to weed out any potential problems with assets so that they can stay healthy and operating. Basically, that's what preventive maintenance is all about. The more PM that are missed, see, what it means is you plan and then you miss. So if you miss, more likely the piece of equipment will have failure. Yeah, just like our car, we plan to service, you don't do it, you got a good chance that the thing will break down somewhere along the line. So that will help us to think. If you plan to do it and you did not do it, don't be surprised if the thing break down. Now the other one is actually what we call PM percentage. But PM percentage means basically the scheduled maintenance time over your total maintenance time. Out of all your maintenance activity, yeah, how much of scheduled maintenance time do you do? Yeah, so that also will give us an indication of let's see. This metric tells you how much maintenance work done on a particular asset was part of your preventive maintenance versus how much time you have spent repairing it. So in other words, if you can gather this data, then you compare it with your downtime, then over this machine you ask yourself, what is the amount of time that I spent planning to do against the amount of time that actually I do repairing the machine. Okay, so if for example, if your maintenance activity, then so maintenance activity means every time you touch the machine, there's activity, and every time you touch the machine, it's either is planned or unplanned. So how much of this planned over the unplanned? Now the other one is actually what we call the MTBF. MTBF is actually mean time between failure. So mean time between failure is the average time, okay, the definition. The average time between the failure or breakdown of critical system or mechanic during regular operation. Means that's the interval. Often MTBF is used to create preventive maintenance schedule for equipment and asset to ensure service is performed before a likely breakdown. So what it means is, let's say if you operate a machine over the week, let's put it in terms of time, in terms of days. So if over 5 days, or let's say over 2 weeks, over 2 weeks on a 5 days week, you got 10 days. Let's say over 10 days. Let's say for example, you have 2 breakdowns over 5 days. So you're talking about every 5 days you have a breakdown. That's the mean time between failure. But instead of 2 time breakdown, let's say over 10 days you have 5 breakdowns. So then you have 5/10. 10 is a working day. Basically, the measurement is this. The mention is total time in the period over the number of failure. So let's say, for example, if you have 10 days, you have 10 days and you have 5 failure. So it's like every 2 days you have a breakdown, which is not very good. So in other words, the higher the number, the better. The lower the number is not so good. So this will help us to determine how often you should actually service your equipment. If your equipment is breaking down very often, then your schedule period should be shortened. Yeah. But some of the drawback about MTBF, one is a good indicator. A lot of the maintenance manager are using it. Now I don't want to go into this calculation, but basically here is done. Okay. Basically, it give you an example of a truck that run for 8 hour shift, and have 16 failure. So it's like every half an hour you have a breakdown. So that is actually MTBF. But some of the drawback about MTBF is this. But let's say if you look at this one, you look at this chart. Over 8 hours, then you have failure of 16 times. 16 times. Then failure is on the 7 hour is 8 times you break down. On the 8 hour another 8 times. So it's 16 times. So the only problem of MTBF is sometimes it do not tell us a lot of story in the sense. Like for some what sort of breakdown. Is this 16 big breakdown all the same or different? Just like your car, is it every time the battery problem, or sometimes it's the engine problem, or it is all the time the engine problem? So for that reason, sometimes it's good to, instead of just calculating the MTBF, it's good if you can actually log in the type of failure, which should actually help us to move into what they call failure mode. If it's breakdown because of cyst bearing, for example, if it's breakdown because of worn impeller, then it will give us a more accurate information why the thing break down. So sometimes, like our car, sometimes we feel that, oh, the car every 5 days it break down, it give him problems. I've sent it to the mechanic. But if every time you break down is a different problem, then you think it's a different problem. Yeah. But every time you break down is the same problem, then they were sort of promised to say, look, this problem we need to fix up. Okay. So here is another example, but I think we will not go into this. We're not going to this. The next one I want to talk about is actually the OEE. Again, OEE, depending on the type of industry you are from, you may not have heard of it. OEE basically means overall equipment effectiveness. Now, very often we say, look, the important thing is do the right thing. The difference between efficiency and effectiveness is this. Let's say, for example, if you just like the picture said, you see the bunny have a speed boat, can go fast. But if you go in the wrong direction, you actually get it wrong. So sometimes we do things very fast. You can do your machine can run very fast, can produce a lot, and you can produce 100 units per minute. But if 50% of the unit that produce are defective, and then we got a problem. Yeah, so it's efficient but it's not effective, because everything you produce you need to rework, so you spend more time trying to rework. So that is actually what OEE is about. Yes, sometimes I run a course over 2 days on OEE and all that, how to maximize the equipment for OEE. But here is just a summary. It's a quantifiable way to find out how well your equipment, your people, and process does the job. Because OEE take into consideration of the availability. Now, Availability basically is your uptime. Instead of downtime is uptime. That's availability. Equipment availability. Performance is how is a machine performing. If you get the machine, let's say for example, you're supposed to run the machine for, if you can give you 100 unit per minute and you're only running 80 unit, so you see your performance is lacking. You're not actually performing. And also the quality. Out of all the things that come out, it doesn't pass quality criteria. So you have to be a reject. So OEE take care of the three component: availability, performance, and availability. Is uptime over the schedule time of production. Performance is how much goods come out over what is your target for the day. So your expectation is 100 unit, you only got 80 unit. And then out of that, how many of them does not pass quality rate? Yeah. So of course in the OEE calculation, there's this metric just to highlight that you see, availability has to do with breakdown, adjustment, performance has to do with reduced speed, idling. Sometimes the machine is it's not breakdown, but basically there's no output coming out. Why? Waiting for material. So minor stoppages, the machine stop, but it's not breakdown. But no product coming out. So it sort of affect your production rate, because no production coming out. Machine is also not down. Okay. Then who is going to be responsible for those time? So again, that's OEE. Quality is more straightforward. How many of them they come out actually pass the quality rate? Okay. Again, this is the some of the what you call breakdown that I'm trying to show you. Performance has to do with machine speed, availability have to do with equipment downtime, quality is quite straightforward. Okay. So OEE give you a way to assess how close the process is. It also give you a direction on how to improve it. Now, the good thing about OEE is that, like I show you, there are three components: availability, performance, and quality rate. If you do the calculation and you get a very low OEE, so you look at the three components and say, look, which component is actually impacting your OEE? In other words, which of the component, whether it's availability or whether it's performance or whether it's quality, that is actually have an impact on your reduced OEE. In other words, the amount of real product that actually come out. And from there, we can actually do something about it. So we can make improvement and all that. So it helps you to break down where losses or issue happen, so that you can fix it. So it provides a diagnostic tool for your production process too. It quickly remove losses as well as protective area. Yeah, it helps nudge you closer to your highest level of productivity. In other words, it helps you to tell you, look, are you getting the best out of your equipment? If not, okay. Now then again, I have this example over here, but just roughly, let's say for production shift that you have 480 minutes per shift on a machine rated at 100 products per minute. So basically, you will expect 4,800 units that come out from the machine. But actually, it come out 32,000 instead of 48,000. It come out as 32,000. And your speed is actually now reduced to 98 units per minute. So question is why? You have unplanned downtime of 82 minutes. What happened to the machine? Yeah, then you have bottleneck losses due to breakdown, another 30 minutes. So if you do all the calculation, you can get your OEE, in this case is about 60%. So what it means is actually, you could actually produce another about 36 or 37% more production if everything is running 100%. So let's say for example you have an OEE of 50%. So what it means is, instead of buying a new machine, you can actually improve the machine so that you can actually have the production you want without buying another machine. So that's powerful of OEE. Okay. So above all this, we need to capture data. And so how do we actually capture data? One good way, of course, computerization today. So computerization. If, for example, if you have a CMMS, which is actually a computerized maintenance management system, and you know, all computerized maintenance, all computerized system is basically a digital form. You store a database that keep track of your machine downtime, your machine parts, works order, how many works order you have, how much of downtime you have, how much of uptime you have. So a good CMMS will help you somewhat to get the data from it. So then again, try to utilize a CMMS that may give you some data on breakdowns, on trying to calculate your OEE. Yeah. So of course, CMMS do have reporting system of function, which allow manager to drill down. What about only this plant? What about only this equipment? What about only this section? What about only this department? Where is the problem? So that you can drill down and find out exactly, okay, where is the problem that you try to fix in order to enhance your overall performance in the maintenance department. Yeah. So a CMMS will be a good candidate for that. Yeah, so CMMS system do have a robust data set on machine utilization. Utilization basically is actually, your uptime, downtime, MTBF, mean time between failure, OEEs, and so on. So this will help maintenance team establish benchmark and prioritize uh, their maintenance strategy and function to make maintenance improvement. So in summary, so whatever KPI or maintenance metric that you chose, so some of this question will be good for us to see, look whether we are on the right track. Does the KPI support business objective? Because your business objective is always production quantities and delivery. Because you're short for that, you cannot deliver. Does KPI improve performance? Does it actually help you to improve your equipment performance? Does it improve availability, which is actually your downtime, uptime? Availability eventually will result in your total output. Yeah. Does the KPI improve maintenance effectiveness, which is again your OEE? Does the KPI affect cost? Does it give management control? Yeah. So these are some good questions for you to think through as you select whatever KPI that you have. Yeah. So KPI is used to track maintenance performance. So how are you going to measure your progress? So if you haven't any KPI at the moment, nothing. Yeah. How are you going to measure your progress? What KPI will be good? How would you like the KPI to influence the outcome? In other words, how are you going to make your KPI to help you to make improvement so that you can zero in, drill in down? How will you know if you are successful? Yeah, so sometimes we implemented programs and all that and not even know whether the programs that we have implemented are working or not. So if you have good measurement system, then of course it will actually help you to do that. So with that, I will close for today. That's all I have today. But I will open up time for Q&A. If you do have any Q&A, you could actually just ask me.